Today we're going to learn about preparing to ride the bus. Everything you will need to be prepared so you'll be ready to go when the bus arrives. The first thing I recommend is that you always check the weather when it comes to riding the bus. You want to be prepared for if it's going to rain, if it's going to be cold, even if it's going to snow. This will help you plan what to wear, and it will also have you prepared for anything that may happen related to weather. So the first thing we want to do is get our backpack. Some people may carry a large purse or a larger bag. It doesn't necessarily have to be a backpack. Always bring a jacket. Even if it's hot outside, the location you're going might be cold inside, so a light jacket is always something good to have with you. An umbrella is something good to always carry with you, just on the case that the weather might be wrong and there's a pop-up shower. You'll be prepared. Cell phone. A cell phone has many uses. One, you can use it to tell the time. You can also log on to the transit website and look at the bus schedules electronically to make sure you're catching the right bus at the right stop at the right time. You can also use this if you want to watch video, play games, maybe you want to watch a movie while you're riding the bus. We ask that you bring headphones with it because if you are watching something that's loud, we don't want to disturb the other passengers. So it's good to have these two together. An emergency ID card. An emergency ID card is good to have because if an emergency situation was to arise and you were not able to communicate, this right here would give people the information they need in order to call someone to let someone know what is happening with you. It's also a good thing, you can put your medical information on it. So if you were a diabetic or you had seizures, maybe you have allergic reactions to peanuts or bee stings. This is good to have with you because it will let someone know these are possible things you could be experiencing as to why you can't communicate. Bus passes. Always make sure you have your bus passes with you so you can pay for your bus fare. If you're not going to be using a bus pass, I recommend that you have exact change for the number of rides you're going to be taking that day. A paper copy of the bus schedules. Most transportation companies will have a paper copy as well as an electronic copy. If something was to happen and the website was to go down or you were somewhere where you weren't getting a good signal, you always want to have the paper copy as a backup so you'll be able to, again, locate the bus that you're needing, where you need to catch that bus at, and what time that bus is going to be coming. Drinks. It's always good to have a drink with you so you don't get dehydrated. We only ask that it has a lid on it. Bringing a drink on the bus without a lid puts the other passengers at risk, and it also puts the bus at risk for getting dirty. If something was to happen and you spilled that drink, it would go everywhere and other passengers may get wet. So always carry something with a lid on it. Once you have everything in your backpack, we're going to zip it up and you're good to go. So now we're prepared. Let's go ride the bus. Okay, so now we're at the bus stop. Bus stops can look different ways. Some of them have bus shelters. Some of them have benches where you can sit. And some of them is nothing more than the bus stop sign. If there's not a place where you can sit down and it's just the sign, you want to be sure you're standing as close as you can to that sign so the driver is aware that you are wanting to catch the bus. The other thing is there's going to be strangers that you're going to encounter. It's always good to, good morning, how are you? Give them a friendly greeting. You could encounter people that are going to ask you for money or ask you for personal items, and you just tell them, I'm sorry, I don't have that, or I'm sorry, I can't help you. Always try to be polite first. If the person keeps persisting, you might take a few steps away from them if possible, or you could even get on your phone and call someone or pretend like you're having a phone conversation as a distraction. Also at the bus stop, you always want to be familiar with your landmarks and what is around you. The bus stop might be close to a business. That business would be a place if something was to happen an emergency, you could go to that business and get help if the bus wasn't at the stop. If it's in a neighborhood, it might be a house on the corner closest to that stop. You might know those people, you might not, but it's something you could always plan for by going and meeting those people and say, hey, I'm going to be catching the bus. If something was to happen, could I come to you for help? Also, at the bus stop, you always want to pay attention and be aware of where the bus stop ends, where the sidewalk ends, and where it goes out into the road. If you're horseplaying, goofing off, you could trip and end up into oncoming traffic, and we don't want that to happen. At some bus stops, you have many buses that will come to that stop. So you always want to be prepared for your bus number, knowing which number you're on, what time that bus is coming, and making sure you're getting on the right bus. Always have your bus fare or your bus card ready, so when that bus pulls up, you can step on, pay your fare, and go and sit down. As the bus approaches, I want you to look at the front of the bus toward the very top. You're going to see a sign. This sign is going to tell you the bus number and where this bus is going. If you look on the side of the bus, up to the left by the door, there's another sign that will also tell you the number of the bus, what route the number is, and where that bus is going. So you can always make sure you're getting on the bus, the right bus. So we would go first, then he would get her. As you notice with this bus, it tilts. So what that does, the front part of the bus lowers in case someone cannot step as high or might have a disability limiting them from doing that. All right, welcome guys. Now we're on the bus. When you first enter the bus, you want to greet the driver. You could say good morning, good afternoon, how are you? The other thing is the fare box. Every bus is going to have a fare box on it. So if you're using your bus card, you see the red bullseye, you're just going to take that card and tap it. It'll make a beeping noise and you'll go and you'll sit down. Now, some bus passes, it might ask you to show an ID. If it does, you're going to have a picture ID and you would just show the driver. Now, if you're using cash to pay for your ride, you have the coin slot here and it just goes in like that. Right here is where the bills go in. This is another part where you want to make sure you have the correct change, because if you put a larger bill in, it's not going to give you change back. But you slide the dollar bills in there. Once you've paid your fare, you're going to come and find your seat. These very front seats are what we call accessible seating, or you'll see signs that say wheelchair seating area. Each bus holds 2 wheelchairs. Right here, one to this side, one to this side. It's okay to sit in these seats, but be aware if someone in a wheelchair is to get on the bus, you might be asked to move. If you go a little further back, you'll see there's still seats that will still keep you close to the driver. When you're on the bus, the driver is your best friend. He or she is the one that can answer any and all of your questions. If there is something that happens on the bus, you feel uncomfortable, you're going to go to the driver about it. Your best friend. Okay, now that you have found your seat, once you get on the bus, you want to stay seated as long as the bus is in motion. You don't want to be standing while the bus is going because that puts you at risk of falling. These straps here are for someone if the seats are all full and they had to stand. You could stand and hold on to this. We recommend that you don't stand unless you absolutely have to, because that puts you at risk of falling or getting injured. If you'll look, the first thing you're going to notice once you find your seat is the sign up here. This sign is going to tell you where you are, where the bus is at. It's going to tell you the streets that the bus is going to be crossing. That's how you're going to know the location that you're at. Depending on where you're going, there's going to be a specific street name that you need to know in order to know you're at your destination, and you need to pull your cord to get off the bus. Anytime you're ready to get off the bus, you pull the yellow cord. Also, when you're on the bus, you want to be aware of landmarks. Wherever your location is at, maybe there's a gas station that's close to where you're going. When you see that gas station, that would be a good indication you need to pull the cord because it's coming up on your stop. Now, if you're sitting here and you miss your stop, what are you going to do? As soon as you realize that you have missed your stop, you have 2 options. You can pull the cord and get off the bus where it's at and then walk back to your stop, Or you can stay on the bus, finish the route, and then catch the next bus that's coming through to take you to your destination. If you do that, you're going to be late, but depending on how far away from your destination, it may be the better option. All right, we're close to our bus stop. What do you need to do? Pull the yellow cord so the driver knows you're wanting to get off. Now, once the bus has come to a complete stop, the front door where we entered is normally how you entered the bus. The bus has a back door. That's the bus that you want to exit out of. Always leave the front door for people with disabilities, and for your wheelchair passengers, always try to use the back door if possible. Be sure to gather all your personal items, because if you leave them on the bus, there's no coming back.